What if the healthy breakfast you've eaten for decades could be silently setting you up for a stroke? Picture this. It's a quiet Tuesday morning, and you're sitting at your kitchen table, the same one where you've shared countless meals with family. You reach for that familiar banana, the sweet grapes, maybe a slice of fresh pineapple. It feels good, feels right. After all, doctors have been telling us for years that fruit is nature's medicine. But as you take that bite, your aging body is responding in ways that would shock you. Here's the truth that no one wants to discuss openly. After 60, your body isn't the same fortress it once was. Your kidneys work slower, your liver processes differently, and your blood vessels have become more fragile. The very fruits that once nourished you can now become silent enemies, triggering dangerous blood sugar spikes, interfering with your medications, and yes, even causing strokes. Neurologist Dr. Blake, Sandra Pereira, has documented case after case of patients who never saw it coming. Mr. Raymond, who loved his morning banana with his blood pressure medication. Mrs. Clara, who enjoyed pineapple before bed. Both suffered strokes that could have been prevented. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the 9 common fruits that could be putting your brain at risk right now. The real patient stories that will make your heart skip a beat. And most importantly, how to turn this knowledge into protection for the years ahead. Because understanding what's happening in your body isn't about fear. It's about taking back control of your health when it matters most. Number 1, the body you no longer recognize. Your body has been quietly changing, and most of us never got the memo. At 68, Margaret from Ohio thought she knew her body well. She had been healthy her whole life, ate her fruits every morning, took her medications as prescribed. But last Tuesday, as she sat in the emergency room watching doctors work frantically around her, she realized her body had become a stranger. Here's what happens after 60 that no one really explains. Your kidneys, those faithful filters that have worked tirelessly for decades, start slowing down. They can no longer clear potassium efficiently, and that mineral builds up in your blood like sediment in old pipes. Your liver, once a powerhouse of detoxification, now struggles to process medications the way it used to. This means drugs stay in your system longer, building up to dangerous levels, or clashing with the simplest foods. Your blood vessels, those highways that carry life through your body, become fragile and easily inflamed. Think of them like old garden hoses that crack under pressure. And your brain, your precious command center, becomes incredibly sensitive to changes in blood sugar, blood pressure, and blood thickness. A spike here, a dip there, and suddenly you're facing consequences you never saw coming. Margaret's stroke wasn't caused by years of poor choices. It was caused by a banana and her blood pressure medication, creating a perfect storm in her changed body. The lesson here isn't to fear your body, but to understand it. When you know how your body has changed, you can work with it, not against it. Your body at 60 isn't broken. It's different. Number 2, when healthy becomes harmful. For 70 years, you've been told the same thing. Eat your fruits. They're nature's candy. They'll keep you healthy. But what if everything you believed about fruit was only half the truth? The cruel irony is this: the very foods we reach for to stay healthy can become the ones that hurt us most. We see a bowl of grapes and think antioxidants. We grab a banana and feel virtuous about potassium. We slice up a mango and congratulate ourselves on eating natural sugars instead of processed ones. But our aging bodies don't care about our good intentions. Here's the reality that's hard to swallow. Those sweet, juicy fruits you love can trigger dangerous blood sugar spikes that inflame your already fragile blood vessels. They can interfere with the medications keeping you alive, making them too strong or completely ineffective. The timing of when you eat them, what you eat them with, even the variety you choose, can mean the difference between nourishment and harm. The most heartbreaking part is that most of us have no idea. We dutifully take our medications, then wash them down with orange juice. We eat our evening fruit bowl, not knowing we're setting ourselves up for a crisis while we sleep. We follow the same eating patterns we've had for decades, unaware that our bodies have fundamentally changed the rules. But knowledge is power, And power gives you choice. Once you understand which fruits pose risks and why, you can still enjoy nature's sweetness safely. The goal isn't to eliminate joy from eating, it's to eat with wisdom. Number 3. The breakfast that changed everything. Mr. Raymond started every morning the same way for 20 years. Coffee, toast, and a banana. It was simple, healthy, and gave him energy for his daily walk. At 72, he took his blood pressure medication faithfully and thought he was doing everything right, until the morning when his routine nearly killed him. That banana you consider the perfect breakfast contains about 420 milligrams of potassium. In a young, healthy body, that's wonderful. But when your kidneys are running at half speed, as they often do after 60, that potassium doesn't get filtered out efficiently. It builds up in your bloodstream like water behind a dam. Add in blood pressure medications like ACE inhibitors or diuretics, which make your body hold onto even more potassium, and you've created a dangerous situation. Too much potassium disrupts your heart's electrical system, causing irregular rhythms that can trigger clots. Those clots travel to your brain, and suddenly you're facing a stroke. Raymond felt dizzy that morning, brushed it off as getting up too fast, then collapsed 20 minutes later. The doctors said his potassium levels were dangerously high, his heart rhythm was chaotic, and a clot had formed. The solution isn't to never eat bananas again, it's to understand timing and quantity. If you take blood pressure or heart medications, eat bananas sparingly and earlier in the day when your body can process them better. Consider half a banana instead of a whole one. Pair it with protein to slow absorption. Raymond recovered, and now he knows his body's new rules. Knowledge turned his daily routine from a risk into a choice. Number 4. The sweet snack that wasn't so sweet. Mrs. Jeanette loved her afternoon grapes. A small bowl while watching her stories, another handful before dinner. They seemed like the perfect snack, natural and guilt-free. But at 65, her body was reading those grapes like a sugar bomb, and she had no idea. Grapes are nature's candy in the most literal sense. Their high glycemic index means they flood your bloodstream with glucose and fructose faster than your aging body can handle. Picture your blood vessels as delicate garden hoses, and that sugar surge as high-pressure water suddenly rushing through. The walls stretch, they inflame, tiny tears form. This isn't dramatic or painful. It's silent and deadly. That inflammation you can't feel is setting the stage for clots to form. Your blood becomes stickier, your vessel walls rougher, and suddenly you're one small clot away from a mini-stroke. Jeanette felt slightly confused one afternoon, had trouble finding words for a few minutes, then felt fine. She thought it was just fatigue. It was actually a transient ischemic attack, a warning stroke, triggered by the inflammation from her daily grape habit. The tragedy is that grapes can still be part of your life, but not as a standalone snack. Eat them with nuts or cheese to slow down sugar absorption. Choose darker grapes in smaller portions. Never eat them on an empty stomach, and avoid them in the evening when your body's sugar processing is slowest. Jeanette learned to love berries instead, and her afternoon routine became protective rather than dangerous. Small changes, profound differences. Number 5. When dessert becomes dangerous. Clara Hills had a ritual she treasured. Every evening after dinner, she'd settle into her favorite chair with a bowl of fresh pineapple chunks. It felt healthy, tropical, and satisfying. She never imagined that this simple pleasure was creating a perfect storm in her body while she slept. Pineapple contains bromelain, a natural enzyme that affects blood clotting. When you're taking blood thinners, or even baby aspirin, this enzyme can make your blood too thin, increasing your risk of a brain hemorrhage. But that's not the only danger lurking in that sweet, golden fruit. The natural sugars in pineapple create a spike in your blood glucose, just when your body is preparing for rest. At night, your circulation naturally slows down. Your heart rate drops, your blood pressure decreases, and your body shifts into repair mode. But when you've just eaten pineapple, your blood sugar surges right when your body can least handle it. The high acidity can also trigger silent reflux, reducing oxygen to your brain during the critical overnight hours when healing should happen. Clara woke up one morning unable to speak clearly. The stroke had happened sometime during the night, while she slept peacefully, unaware that her evening ritual had been slowly building toward this moment. The combination of blood-thinning effects and sugar stress on her vessels had created conditions for a clot to form. Recovery taught Clara new rules. Pineapple became a morning treat, eaten in smaller amounts with yogurt or nuts. Her evenings now end with herbal tea instead of fruit, and her body thanks her for the change. Sometimes, protection means letting go of old comforts. Number 6. The hydration myth that kills. Mr. Howard thought he was being smart. On hot summer days, instead of reaching for sugary drinks, he'd eat bowl after bowl of watermelon. It was mostly water, right? It had to be hydrating. At 74, taking water pills for his heart condition, he believed he was making the healthiest choice possible. He couldn't have been more wrong. Watermelon is indeed mostly water, but it's also a powerful natural diuretic. This means it makes you lose even more fluid than you're taking in. When you're already on prescription diuretics, those water pills that help your heart, adding watermelon creates a double drain on your body's fluid reserves. You feel refreshed in the moment, but hours later, your blood becomes thick and sluggish. Here's the deadly part that no one talks about. Thick blood moves slowly through your vessels, especially during the night when your circulation naturally decreases. It's like trying to push honey through narrow straws. Clots form easily in this thick, slow-moving blood, and they travel to the places that will hurt you most. Your brain, your heart, your lungs. Howard collapsed on a Tuesday evening while watching television. The stroke came without warning, but the conditions had been building all summer with every bowl of watermelon he'd eaten in good faith. His blood tests showed severe dehydration despite drinking what he thought was plenty of fluids. The solution is awareness, not elimination. If you take water pills, treat watermelon like any other sweet treat, small amounts and early in the day. Drink actual water too, not just water-rich foods. Your body needs both hydration and electrolyte balance, and only you can provide both. Number 7. The morning juice that stopped his medicine. Mr. Elmer had been drinking a glass of fresh orange juice with breakfast for 40 years. When his doctor prescribed cholesterol medication and blood pressure pills, no one mentioned changing his morning routine. That orange juice, so rich in vitamin C and seemingly innocent, was about to become his enemy. Orange juice contains compounds called furanocoumarins that block your liver's ability to process certain medications. Think of your liver as a factory with workers breaking down pills so your body can use them safely. Orange juice essentially puts those workers to sleep. Your cholesterol medication builds up to toxic levels, or your blood pressure pills stop working entirely because they can't be processed. This isn't a quick reaction you'd notice right away. It's a slow poisoning or a gradual loss of protection that builds over weeks and months. Your cholesterol soars or your blood pressure becomes uncontrolled, and you have no idea why. You're taking your medications faithfully, but they're either harming you through accumulation or failing to protect you at all. Elmer's stroke came on a Saturday morning. His blood pressure had been climbing for months despite medication, but neither he nor his doctor realized the orange juice was blocking the medicine from working. The stroke could have been prevented with one simple change to his breakfast routine. The heartbreaking truth is that this happens to thousands of seniors every year. The fix is simple once you know. Take your medications with water. Wait at least 2 hours before drinking citrus juice, or switch to apple juice or water with a splash of lemon. Your medications will work as intended, and your mornings can still be delicious. Number 8. When an apple a day becomes a problem. Ms. Louise followed her grandmother's advice religiously. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. But at 69, her daily Honeycrisp apple wasn't keeping anything away. Instead, it was creating dangerous blood sugar swings that were slowly damaging her brain, one bite at a time. Modern apples aren't your grandmother's apples. Today's varieties like Honeycrisp, Gala, and Red Delicious have been bred for sweetness, not health. They contain as much sugar as some candy bars. When you eat one of these super sweet apples on an empty stomach, as most of us do for a healthy snack, your blood sugar shoots up like a rocket and crashes down just as fast. Those blood sugar roller coasters are devastating to aging brains. Each spike inflames your blood vessels a little more. Each crash leaves your brain starved for steady energy. Over time, this creates the perfect conditions for small clots to form and travel to the delicate vessels in your brain. It's death by 1,000 cuts, except the cuts are sugar spikes you can't feel. Louise's stroke was mild, just enough to affect her speech slightly and make her left hand a bit weaker. But it was a warning shot fired by her own daily habit. The apple she ate every afternoon at 3 o'clock, alone and with pride in her healthy choice, had been slowly setting up the conditions for this moment. The solution isn't giving up apples, it's choosing wisely. Granny Smith apples are tart and lower in sugar. Eat any apple with protein like nuts or cheese to slow sugar absorption. Never eat fruit alone, and never eat sweet apples as a snack. Make them part of a balanced meal where they can't cause dramatic blood sugar swings. Number 9. The summer treat that caused a brain bleed. Mr. Daniel lived for cherry season. Every July, he'd buy pounds of fresh, sweet cherries and eat them by the handful while watching baseball. At 71, taking a baby aspirin daily for his heart, he thought he was making healthy choices. Those beautiful red cherries were about to teach him a terrifying lesson about natural medicine. Cherries contain natural salicylates, the same compounds found in aspirin. Your body doesn't distinguish between the aspirin you take intentionally and the aspirin-like compounds you eat accidentally. When Daniel ate his daily bowl of cherries on top of his daily aspirin, he was essentially double dosing on blood thinners without knowing it. Thin blood is dangerous in aging bodies, where blood vessels have become fragile and prone to tiny ruptures. What should have been minor, healable breaks in vessel walls became significant bleeds. The cherries that tasted like summer sweetness were turning his blood into something too thin to clot properly when his brain needed protection. The brain hemorrhage happened on a Saturday afternoon in July. Daniel was laughing at something on television when he suddenly felt the worst headache of his life. The combination of daily aspirin and cherry season had made his blood so thin that a small vessel in his brain couldn't stop bleeding once it started. Emergency surgery saved his life, but changed it forever. Recovery meant learning to read nature's warning labels. Cherries became an occasional treat, eaten in small amounts and never during aspirin season. If you take blood thinners of any kind, including baby aspirin, treat cherries like medicine, not food. A few can be delightful, but handfuls can be deadly. Number 10. The berry that poisoned her brain. Ms. Elaine, at 73, was proud of her healthy eating. Every morning, she'd add a cup of fresh strawberries to her oatmeal, and every afternoon, she'd snack on more with yogurt. Strawberries were packed with vitamin C and antioxidants, everything the health magazines recommended. But those beautiful red berries were carrying invisible passengers that were slowly poisoning her aging brain. Strawberries topped the list of fruits with the highest pesticide residues. Your young liver could handle this toxic load, but at 73, Elaine's liver was working at half capacity. Those neurotoxins were accumulating in her brain tissue like sediment in a slow-moving river. Month after month, year after year, the chemical burden was building toward a breaking point. But pesticides weren't the only problem. Strawberries are also high in purines, compounds that increase uric acid in your blood. High uric acid doesn't just cause gout in your joints, it inflames your blood vessels and makes them more likely to form clots. Combined with the oxidative stress from pesticide buildup, Elaine's brain was under constant, silent attack. The stroke hit her on a Tuesday morning while she was tending her garden. The combination of toxic buildup and inflamed vessels had finally created the perfect storm. Blood tests showed dangerously high uric acid levels and markers of severe oxidative stress. Her daily healthy habit had been slowly setting up this moment for years. Recovery meant learning to choose organic berries in smaller amounts, rotating different fruits instead of eating the same ones daily, and supporting her liver with plenty of water and green vegetables. The goal isn't perfection, it's protection through knowledge and variety. Number 11. The tropical treat with a double threat. Mr. William discovered dried mango at the health food store and thought he'd found the perfect snack. Sweet, chewy, and labeled as natural, he'd eat several pieces every afternoon while reading his newspaper. At 76, taking heart medication and blood pressure pills, he believed he was making good choices. Those golden pieces of fruit were about to overwhelm his system in two devastating ways. 1 cup of mango contains 45 grams of sugar, more than a can of soda. When that sugar hits your bloodstream all at once, especially in an aging body that processes glucose slowly, it creates an insulin surge that strains your blood vessels and forces your heart to work overtime. But the sugar was just the beginning of William's problem. Mango contains mangiferin, a compound that slows down your liver's ability to process medications. While William's body was struggling with the sugar assault, his heart and blood pressure medications were building up to dangerous levels because his liver couldn't break them down efficiently. Too much medication made his blood pressure drop too low, while the sugar made his heart race. It was a perfect storm brewing in his bloodstream. The stroke happened on a quiet Thursday afternoon. William felt dizzy, then confused, then nothing. The combination of medication buildup and blood sugar chaos had created conditions for a clot to form and travel to his brain. The dried mango that seemed so innocent had been slowly poisoning him with both sugar and drug interactions. Recovery meant understanding that dried fruits are concentrated sugar bombs, and that natural doesn't always mean safe when you're on medications. Fresh mango in small amounts, eaten early in the day with protein, became his new rule. Sometimes the sweetest treats require the most careful timing. Number 12. The fruits that love you back. After hearing all these warnings, you might think fruit is the enemy, but that's not the truth at all. The truth is that some fruits are specifically designed to protect aging brains and bodies, and knowing which ones can transform your health instead of threatening it. Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries are your brain's best friends. They're low in sugar but packed with anthocyanins, powerful compounds that actually strengthen blood vessels and reduce inflammation. These berries work with your medications, not against them, and they're gentle on aging blood sugar systems. A handful in your morning oatmeal or yogurt provides protection without risk. Granny Smith apples are the smart choice when you crave something crisp and sweet. Their tart flavor comes from beneficial compounds that support brain health and stable blood sugar. Pair half an apple with a handful of nuts, and you've created a snack that nourishes without spiking. Avocados provide healthy fats that support blood pressure and release potassium slowly, making them safe even for sensitive kidneys. Lemon and lime add flavor and digestive support without any drug interactions or sugar concerns. A squeeze in your water or over your food brings brightness without risk. Even pomegranate, with its powerful antioxidants, can be part of your routine when the juice is diluted and portions are small. The golden rules for fruit after 60 are simple but life-saving. Eat fruits early in the day when your body can process them best. Never eat fruit alone. Always pair it with protein or healthy fat to slow absorption. Avoid fruit within 3 hours of bedtime when your body's sugar processing is weakest. And remember, variety protects you where routine can harm. Your future self will thank you for every wise choice you make today. Your relationship with food doesn't have to be ruled by fear. What we've shared today isn't about taking away the simple pleasures that make life sweet. It's about giving you the knowledge to enjoy them safely, on your terms, with your changed body as your guide. You now know that bananas need timing, that grapes need companions, that cherries need caution. You understand that orange juice and medications don't mix, and that bedtime fruit can become a nighttime threat. Most importantly, you know that blueberries, raspberries, and Granny Smith apples are waiting to nourish you without risk. This knowledge gives you something precious: control. Every morning when you reach for breakfast, every afternoon when you crave a snack, you now have the power to choose protection over habit. You can eat with confidence instead of confusion, with strategy instead of hope. Your aging body isn't betraying you, it's asking you to be smarter. And you can be. You can pair your fruit with protein. You can save sweet treats for morning hours. You can choose varieties that love your brain back. These aren't restrictions. They're tools for the independence you've worked your whole life to maintain. Which of these lessons spoke to your heart today? Was it learning about Raymond's morning routine, or discovering that timing can transform risk into safety? If this knowledge feels like a gift you needed, share it with someone you care about. Like this video if it opened your eyes. Your comments help others find these truths when they need them most.